out on display. On the DL, out west, pushing yay. What the fuck you say? Brother, watch your mouth. Who protects the children when you beefing with your spouse? It's like Tom and Jerry, a game of cat and mouse. Jerry kept the cheese, but the pussy kept the house. Who creeping from behind, hand all up her blouse? Saturday Night Live, right there on his casting couch. Just roll a Jerry Springer, and no, I'm not the father. Who gave a bunch of rappers whose father didn't bother? Mother up on Murray, chefing up the curry. It's like we're in the handbags, to hell in a hurry. Snowfall more than flurry, kept the mink furry. Ski without the goggle, got our vision blurry. I got that blue magic, that bright up, hurry, hurry. Wanna see, I'll show you shit like I'm from Missouri. Who at the wheel? Tell him hit the brakes. I don't like how it feels, little niggas give me shakes. The world is ringing, brother, versus stole the soul. Is it love and hip-hop or just pimps and hoes? Who at the wheel? Tell him hit the brakes. I don't like how this feel, little niggas give me shakes. The world is ringing, brother, universal stole the soul. Is it love and hip-hop or just pimps and hoes? Everything for sale, everybody got a price. They say they married to the game when they cheat on their wife. They lead a double life on stage thanking Christ. When it's time to sell that ass, they ain't thinking twice. It turns men to mice, these rappers look like Mickey. They shifty, so you throw the guns in the air like sticky. Boys in the hood, on the run like Mickey. Chicks be picky, but really licky. They'll set you up on the ground, thinking bam, thank you, ma'am. I'm trying to be positive, but I can't understand. She got a man, and he got a squad. They got Glocks, my nigga on guard. We living out the purge, everybody got the urge to hop up out their lane like that shit said merge. When daddy is a perv and mommy throwing curves. Trying to be on the straight and narrow, but people make me swerve. Who at the wheel? Tell them hit the brakes. I don't like how it feels, little niggas give me shakes. The world is ringing, brother, versus stole the soul. Is it love and hip-hop or just pimps and hoes? Who at the wheel? Tell them hit the brakes. I don't like how this feels, little niggas give me shakes. The world is ringing, brother, universal stole the soul. Is it love and hip-hop or just pimps and hoes?
Me? Said the world is Ringling Brothers. Universal stole the soul. Is it love and hip hop or just pimps and hoes? What up, yo?
Yo, what's going on, fellas?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Everything is good, man. Everything is good. Better in OKC than it is in Indy, but everything is good.
Yeah, man. I heard that Tyrese is still going to play on Thursday, but I don't know.
What was the injury officially? What did he do? What did he do?
Strained calf, I think.
Calf strain, yeah, which is like very reminiscent of 2019, if you ask me. Because that's what Katie had.
It's one step away from tearing your Achilles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Good. Well, hey, man. Listen, he's pretty much been missing the action anyway, so you sit that ass
he's
down.
Up and down, man. He's been.
Oh! Wait a minute. Hold on for a second. We got a special guest in the building. What's up, Wes?
Yo.
What's going on, fellas?
Oh, shit.
What's up, Wes?
Wes, is that you?
Yeah, it's me, man. It's me, man.
Yo, we sure that's not AI? That's really Wes?
It's AI.
Wait. Let me clear it up for you. LeBron James ain't shit. That's me.
Yep, that's Wes.
That is Wes.
That's me right there. What's going on, fellas?
I just felt the hate as soon as he came in. His hate.
Dripping
with hate.
I didn't feel no hate, man. I was feeling
Baby, yo, Jasmine,
I see Kai Will and I
so I can wipe up this hate dripping off the screen right now.
Wes coming with truth. Wes coming with truth.
When I see Kai Will on the screen, I get happy. Then I see Coach, and I already know what's going on. Then I see my man Hakim. You light up the room all the time, brother. You light up the room all the time, my brother.
Hold on, I gotta adjust my seat. Hold on. I gotta adjust my seat.
That's why I love you. That's why I love you. That's why you're my man.
I think you got that motherfucking.
Yeah. Man, I just been real crazy. Had to, been out of town different times, so I apologize, fellas.
Hey man,
That's all
you've
good.
been getting that money,
good,
man.
brother.
Get working. I like it.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say, when you come in here with your LeBron comments,
I just had to make sure you knew it was me. It wasn't AI.
it's asinine. The comments you be making.
I like that one.
Wes and Kyle will have no idea what we talking about.
I know.
No,
I like that one. That was good. I like that.
It's asinine.
I'm hoping LeBron do the right thing in the next week or so and just opt out of his last year.
Yeah, I think it's over. I think he might retire. That's what.
He said he's actually thinking about retiring. Not retiring's on his mind. Not to say he's thinking of retiring now, but it's something he's had on his mind, and he's paying attention to his body and what his family says. So I think once you get to that point, I think that's a dangerous point to be at, actually. When you start thinking about
let's keep it real, y'all. 35, 36 is a dangerous point to be at in the NBA.
No, I'm talking about when you start thinking about retiring.
I know.
Now your mind is playing a different trick on you.
I know exactly what you meant. It's just that for anybody post 35, 36, I'm sure your mind be playing tricks on you, constantly.
Anyway, yeah,
constantly. Like, all right, what am I doing? I really want to do this anymore. Is there other things I can do with my life? And he got Father Time on pause, but Father Time is undefeated. You might be able to get some extra rounds.
Yeah. And he's gotten a few. Yeah.
And it's probably, aside from the actual toll of playing the game and training and practicing, it's just like you said, just like there's so much more that I want to do and can do and should be doing with my life that I'm spending 82 games a year traveling and with these, not that he's old. You know what I mean? LeBron is old, but these guys are. But what I mean by that is, like, in terms of relating to these, these 20-year-olds, it's like, that's an ocean of a difference in the locker room.
Yeah. You know, he basically got a bunch of his kids in the locker room now.
Basically,
it's very few people it's nobody he can relate to on his team, because the Lakers don't keep veterans like that. So. It's hard, man.
That's why he brought JJ, somebody he could talk to.
Yeah. So it's tough, man.
Conversation.
Right. They're in front of the bus.
And even JJ, he can't talk to him like he used to. That relationship has changed.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep. But it's good to see you fellas.
Same, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think, Coach, you would real quick, just to get back, Coach, you said it, but that's absolutely what I was thinking. I mean, calf strain will lead directly to a torn ACL, so you got to be careful with that.
Yeah, and that's what I thought actually was going to happen when he came back last night. I was like, yo, he's playing, he's rolling the dice. It's Russian roulette. Yeah.
So I guess I'm just curious about you guys' feedback. What do you think about the finals?
I've enjoyed it from a basketball standpoint.
It's great basketball.
Yep, same.
Last night was kind of like, it was over early. I was hoping Pacers could, make it interesting toward the end, but
they did. They got it to 2, and then they just kept turning the ball over.
Oh, I missed that part. I walked away. They got it to 2.
Yeah.
I saw it was like 15, 7.
They cut it to 2 and then just started throwing the ball away. It was like,
I think they had Nembhard running point.
Yeah, Nembhard played. I thought he played well. He's been defending the hell out of SGA.
They said last night. I'm sorry not to cut you off, but he had more turnovers, and more something else than he had points, rebounds, and assists.
Nembhard?
He was. Caruso looked like the greatest defender ever. How he was playing the passing lanes and just getting steals.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't remember him being that good in LA defense. Like, he was good, but he's been looking phenomenal.
At what point during the game I thought that Indiana's offense got pretty predictable, especially with Halliburton, like, kind of driving. Like, you kind of know he's gonna make this, like you turn around because your guys in the corner.
Yep.
but so did OKC. So they was just waiting for him to pass it opposite court.
Yeah,
and it was
they were staying home. They were staying home, and they just was throwing the ball away, like because he wasn't even in a position where he could shoot it at that point.
Right.
Like,
and he wasn't looking to shoot. Like you could tell, he's not being. I mean, I guess it was the calf bothering him, or at what point that happened. But in all series, he's just not been looking like he wants to shoot the ball.
He hasn't been aggressive, man.
No.
He hasn't been aggressive. And it's strange because that little floater of his is money. So
yeah,
and he's getting in the lane. Just shoot it. Just shoot it. You know. So I don't know. I still think it's going 7.
Yeah, I do too. I think that Indy will win going home, and we'll see. I actually don't like teams winning on the other team's court. Not for the championship. You know what I'm saying? You cheat your fans.
Yeah, you really do. You really do. And I thought this was the first time Carlisle made a coaching mistake. He should have put T.J. McConnell in the game.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the whole reason they brought it to 2 in the first place.
Yeah,
the way TJ was playing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you play Hallie just because he's the quote unquote leader of the team, face of the team?
But that's where, as a coach, you gotta be like, yo, love you, but I gotta sit you down.
I think they're still effective with him not playing.
Yeah. I agree, man. They're ahead of schedule, man.
Yeah, they 9 deep. They got 10 guys, 9 guys, 10 guys that can run anyway, 11 guys sometimes. So I feel like, and I like Halliburton's game, and he's had a great coming out party in terms of the playoffs. He's been real clutch. But I think when you hamper it like that, you just got to go with the healthy. Got to go with the healthy body. He's not irreplaceable. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. No, and he also, I think he's kind of gotten that tag of most overrated. I think he got that off of him. I
thought he was overrated. I thought he was like, just.
Well,
he himself.
The players thought he was overrated, and that's crazy. It wasn't even the media; it was the players that voted him like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the players that voted him?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I think a lot of the players were upset that he made the Olympic team.
Exactly, I agree.
That's all
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's exactly what that is.
Yep. So that's pretty what I see on that one.
Wow. So Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, is he overrated?
No, he's a Hall of Famer if they win this series.
Oh yeah, already, right? Yeah, but I've been hearing some negative talk about his defense, comparing him more like Luka than he is the.
That's not even close, man. I saw that dude get 2 blocks in the second half yesterday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, he just isn't at the level. He's not at the level of Dortch and Caruso and Jalen Williams, but he defends.
Yeah, he can play defense.
It's just them other guys are such dogs. It's like, my God, they actually make him look bad as a defender because they so good.
Yeah, they're really good defensively.
Yeah, they are.
They're really good defensively.
So. Got a 7'4" guy in Chet and a 7-foot in Hartenstein.
And listen, and I was the first. I was never big on Chet Holmgren, and I still think he's frail, but he got game. He could play.
He got game, bro.
He just looked bad in the NCAA tournament, and he did, and it didn't look like it was going to work. But Chet Holmgren is a player for sure.
He got the same
benefit. What happened was him getting hurt his rookie season.
Yeah.
I know I was very critical of him too coming out of college. I didn't think he had the frame to, body people up. But he made a shot yesterday that was so skilled. It was like he switched hands and he was, defender was on him and he floated. It was like a hook floater. Mm-hmm. And the touch that he had on that shot, it rolled off his fingertips. And I was like, wow, that boy can play.
Yeah,
he's still frail though, because one time he just got pushed to the court, and he was looking around like, "Yo, who pushed me?"
He was hurt. He was how Go say, He's balled up like a little baby.
Yeah.
like fucking baby God. Like a newborn baby God.
That's why getting Hartenstein was a hell of a pickup, man, because he don't have to do any physical work. He can just be a finesse player and do him. You don't have to worry about all that other stuff. Just like Cat with Rudy Gobert last year.
Yeah.
Genius, man. Genius pickup.
Yeah, and then J-Dub dropped 41 on him last night.
Yes.
Yo, they calling him the next Pippen.
I heard that. Yep.
Wow.
I like that.
Yeah, and they said he's a better scorer than Pippen, not as good a defender, but Pippen never got 40 as a second option.
In a finals? Hell no.
Nope.
But Shea is a different kind of player. Shea, like you can see everything that he does from the commercials that spots that they do to the post game interviews. He wants to share that. He wants to share everything with his team.
Yeah, he does.
You know, so it doesn't surprise me that Jalen will get 40.
And that's what's so great about Shea getting 30 night in and night out, because he's still sharing the ball. It's not a selfish 30.
Yeah.
It's like I think last game I was like, damn, he got 25, and then they flashed it. Nah, he got 30. And I'm like, oh damn.
Why you 30?
You know, so he just get buckets, and that's without threes. Like he don't have his 3-point shot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yo,
That's
the mid-range game between him and Jalen Williams, man, they go get theirs without the three. That's what I like about their games.
Yep.
They don't have to the three.
This series has been refreshing.
But you know when Shea is coming. Both of them.
Yeah. You know it's coming.
It's just he's still young. Man, he gonna figure out a 3-point shot and be fucking crazy.
And they gonna still be together another 3 years or so, because they are all on rookie contracts.
So, providing they carry this out, are we looking at a dynasty?
Possibly. It all depends on this offseason, because we still got 2 superstars out there that could tip any team, and KD and Giannis. So, you know.
Yeah, but but the thing is, that's true in the old NBA. The NBA is trying to get back to what it used to be, where cats are staying and becoming a team, and the stars are staying put. And I still think that this is the last of it, right? So let Giannis and KD go. They both got their rings already. Let them go try to put somebody over the top. Will it work? Could it work? Yeah, but everything got to fall into play.
Yeah,
everything got to work.
Yeah,
you know, injuries, everything got to play out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with chemistry, organization.
Yep,
like
that's
what the Thunder have done over the last few years and building a team, and like
Indiana, same thing.
They built young. It's the young
New
team
York,
building.
New York as well. They're doing it the right way, right? So I think if I had to pick for a team, if New York wanted to go out there and get Giannis, I would be all for that, right? I'm not a really fan to see New York get KD. I'd rather see them Giannis. If I had to choose for New York, because I still feel like Brunson played phenomenally, but I was kind of tired. Their offense was stale as hell in the Eastern Conference. It was that he dribbled the ball way too much, and it didn't look good when they were defending it. It didn't look good anymore. They weren't working the ball. He was a one-man target. Like you knew where the ball was gonna be, and it was easy to defend the Knicks in the last. Like Thibodeau didn't show me anything in terms of trying to change it up with Cat and this guy, my man. And I want to see him be I think Jalen Brunson is still a number 2.
Really?
I think he could be a 1A, but I think he needs another 1, man. I think they really do need another 1. I really do.
Yeah, I think he well, you know what? I like KD in New York if they give up. I'll take KD over Mikal Bridges. Because know KD gonna give you 25 every night.
Yeah.
Like, it's a no-brainer. And Mikal just didn't show me enough in New York. You know, I would never give up Josh Hart. I would not give up Josh Hart.
You need glue guys.
Yeah. I wouldn't give up Hart, but I would give up Mikal Bridges and there's probably some other guys they could give up.
Cat?
No, I wouldn't give up Cat.
Nah, Cat actually had a good year, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up Cat.
Did.
He's the greatest New York Knick in history, right?
Greatest New York Knicks center ever.
I heard that statement before. I was like, wow, where'd they get that one from?
He's standing on it.
I'm standing on it, man. I'm standing on it. But no, I would give up Bridges. I might even give up Mitchell Robinson, because he's a casualty in the games, man. You just foul him, he's gonna go to free throw line and miss.
Foul Mitch, Hakim.
Defensively, he helps, but KD is just as long as he is, and can do the same things defensively. So.
Yeah, I think Thibodeau should have.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
so Robinson gives you more than KD on the inside, interior rebounds, and
KD rebounds the ball. KD rebounds the ball, and he can switch off and play anybody on the perimeter. And that's one of the things that Mitch Robinson stood out, because he could switch in the pick and roll where Cat couldn't.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're giving up as much, if you have KD and give up Mitchell Robinson. Put Giannis in New York. It's a good thing. Once again, another 7-footer.
I think him and Cat would play really well together.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I like Giannis in New York more than I like KD in New York.
That's
why
I don't like KD's personality in New York with that team.
Well, you got
he'll have a burner account going on in New York. He'll have 2 players.
Well, no, his lack of leadership,
right?
To me, is not as bothersome in New York, because you got Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he doesn't need to be that. Like, Jalen's got that under wraps. But it's just Giannis is just, to me, gives more.
For them, what you need, I think.
But now they're shooting down all the rumors in Milwaukee. Giannis ain't going nowhere. That's the word on the street right now. And KD said the 3 teams he was looking at that he wanted to go to, allegedly, Miami, Houston, San Antonio.
Because New York
and Minnesota too.
In Miami, it does nothing for him. They don't win nothing if he goes to Miami.
Yeah,
and I don't think Miami has enough pieces to even give anything to Phoenix. So,
yeah, I think KD's gonna land in San Antonio.
Well, San Antonio has the 2nd and 14th pick.
Yep.
They can give up the 14th.
And they can give up future picks too if they want to.
Yes. KD and San Antonio a problem.
Yeah, Castle and Wembyana. That's a problem.
And nobody.
De'Aaron Fox.
They got De'Aaron Fox.
And De'Aaron Fox. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And then they would draft Dylan Harper, so now you got your backcourt depth right there. So
they scary, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, Pop.
I like it, Coach.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
I also gotta give Coach. I have to give Coach kudos. I think I pressed a like. I do my 5-swipe Facebook, and Coach had his dapper suit on with his sneakers on. I said, "Who's that handsome fella?"
that boy sharp. that boy sharp right there.
Yes,
like,
sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Every now and then I'll actually put a picture of me up on my.
Yeah, there you go. That was a good one for Coach. A good one.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah. So what else is good? What else is worthy? Now we can't talk NFL anymore with Coach on the screen. He's
what happened?
NFL talk. You missed that.
I'm real anti-NFL right now.
Every time the NFL conversation comes up, Shador or whoever, why are we talking about this? We should be boycotting this. That's our problem.
Yeah, they so it's the racism in the NFL now is so blatant, man. It's out of control. It's out of control. And I'm really worried about Tomlin, man. I think they set his ass up.
I think they set them up.
Yeah, that Aaron Rodgers thing. We all saw it coming, but to see the the final. Like, yes, he's a Steeler. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn had it best, man. Remember, he was trying to give Aaron Glenn bad press for making him come to New York to have that meeting. He said, I just did it before he did me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. But Tomlin's gotta read the room too. He's a smart dude, man. He knows, man. His time is up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real talk. You know, they don't like to do that in Pittsburgh, but I think the time is up, because when you give a guy like Aaron Rodgers a job, they're gonna blame it all on Tomlin. They're not gonna blame it on Aaron Rodgers. Man, so
they had a conversation today or yesterday. How many years is Tomlin gonna last? 1 or 2? And they had Ben Roethlisberger having the conversation. I didn't get the chance to hear the conversation, so I don't know what was said. But from the talk that been coming from Ben over the last few years, they're gonna get Tomlin out of there after this year. Ben Roethlisberger is about to come get that job.
If I'm Tomlin, I would leave because somebody going to pick him up. Somebody going to pick him up.
Yeah, that's not a doubt about that. But they setting him up because Aaron Rodgers is not going to be the scapegoat. Period.
Not at all. Not at all.
And they've wanted him out of there for a few years now.
That's horrible. That's hard. See how they do a brother, set a brother up. You know what I mean?
And you know what? This really was the only way to get Tomlin out of there, because he gets the Steelers to the playoffs every year
with bad quarterbacks.
So he's always had the excuses, and they got him now.
What happens if they fuck around and win a Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl?
They'll say he won it because Aaron Rodgers won it.
Right.
100%. Yep.
Right.
That's it. It had nothing. They're gonna say he couldn't win for years. Aaron Rodgers came. He got a Super Bowl because Aaron Rodgers is that guy. Yeah. Not Tomlin is a good coach.
And if that happens, what Tomlin should do, if they win it, I'm retiring. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I go out on top, and that's it. Don't stick around because it only gets worse.
Yeah, it's true.
Damn.
True.
Damn. So since we made it to the NFL, Wes, what's your take on Shedeur so far? And the situation in Cleveland regarding Shedeur? That's a better way to put it.
Well, I don't know, like, the news cycle these days, you don't know who's controlling the news cycle. Like, I saw a clip that came up about Flacco criticizing Shedeur for something. Yeah. And I don't like that. Like again, because the criticism, I just don't. I think that.
What do you remember what it was specifically? Because I remember.
I don't know what he did, I get worried about those.
There's video footage of Shedeur being how old is he? 21, 22?
Yeah.
Right. He had asked Flacco about a dance, right? Mm-hmm. Flacco was like, I don't dance. Like, oh yeah, I don't. So it was like, I know where Shedeur is coming from because he's where he's at, but I also know where Flacco's at because of where he's at. Like, he's 40 Super Bowl winning.
But what I'm saying is that neither one of them are wrong. And what we're doing is we're using that discrepancy as something that he's doing, like Shedeur is doing wrong, and Flacco's right. Right.
Well,
so
I didn't take it like that. I'm not disagreeing with you.
I'm not saying you.
But even like the way it was presented, was like the old guy and the young guy. It wasn't really a critique of Shedeur. It was like, it was the old guy and the young guy. And that was like
the news. The article said the title said, Flacco rips Shedeur for like it's like also rip Shedeur, but why would he rip him for?
Well, that's clickbait. That's how it labels everything to get you to open it up. It's just you like I know exactly what you're talking about. I hate that, but it's so many. That's how everybody. Social media has mainstream media competing.
Yeah,
so they gotta frame the conversation and make you click and open it up. So when you say frame it, I totally get it, and it's horrible. But that's just the times that we in.
In terms of the actual incident, I don't want to argue with people about Shedeur Sanders when all he did was check every box. That's why I don't want to argue with people over a player that checked every box as a player with less talent and was still standing at the end. And we just decided that we're gonna make an example of dad and say his son is not worthy. We get it. Like it's politics, but politically, politics is one thing and skill set is another. The kid can play. There's been a lot of people. I'm not saying he's gonna be an NFL superstar, but I've seen a lot of other cats come through that didn't have the resume that Shador has, and not do anything. And I've seen Shador produce, and if you give him the proper opportunity, he's gonna produce because it's certain cats that are just built like that, and he's one of them. Is this really that simple? You got to just put him. He's all up. His thing is reps related, right? If you give him reps, he's gonna be successful because that's how he's built. You can't take that away from that kid unless you don't put him on the field. That's the only way you can take it away from him.
That's right.
Yeah, I think this is any given Sunday playing out in the NFL. Shador is Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And by the fourth game of the season, he'll be the starter because they're going to spot him a few downs here and there, and he's going to show, I think, brilliance. And then they're going to be like, oh, we got to play this kid. And Flacco knows he's just there. He's just holding the space for a little while, you know. So,
So, Kai, you want to say something?
No. Go ahead.
No. So I know that the conversation itself is redundant. Coach, I know where you at with it. You know, I ain't mad at you, right? But it's just I like having it because we get to highlight just certain aspects that people kind of mainstream media is just gonna miss it, right? So everything that Wes said about Shador being the quarterback he is, the skill set, all his achievements, Johnny Unitas Award, 4,000 plus yards at Colorado, you know, make all the throws, everything. And his father is the greatest defensive back of all time. His father is. You can't get me to believe that Shador is going to not know how to pick apart every coverage you throw at him.
Yeah. Heck, I mean, that is a great point because he actually learned the quarterback position in a way from the defensive standpoint.
Yes.
Right. And then he was trained by the best quarterback to ever pick up a football, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here? Again, now Arch Manning, right? Everybody will say about Arch Manning. Look what his pedigree is. Look who his grandfather is. Look who his uncle is. Yada yada yada. And we're supposed to just jump on, right? Yep. But we can't. But we can't look at Shador the same way because we're looking at Flash and all this other stuff from Deion. But all the stuff that Deion was in terms of Flash, he was a better football player.
Yeah. And a great technical football player.
A great football player.
He was the best football.
He was the best football player at his position. And guess what else he did? He played baseball.
Oh, come on, man.
Okay.
Did y'all see the? I think it's Jay Rich put out something today on Arch Manning, and
I was made me sick.
Arch
with the little kids.
He went down to his teammates' camp in St. Louis. And they were, and Jay Rich was like, "Yo, I'm all in because this kid don't have to do that." You know, you could tell he was raised right. How they're approaching, taking him. He's very humble. He said, and he was, he was on him like, "Yo, he gonna win the Heisman, all this stuff."
Now, Coach, are you referring to the photograph of him with the little black kids and he's like throwing up a peace sign? Are you talking about that photo?
Oh, it wasn't just a photo. It's a whole clip. It's a whole reel
he went
of him participating at the camp and how comfortable he was. And he don't have to do this, being who he is. He went to the hood and, was humble and took part. And what a great kid, how they raised him the right way and how they positioned him the right way. And I'm like,
that's how easy it is. From a PR perspective, and I say this with just like Hawk said, like it makes me sick to my stomach. Yep. That's how easy it is for a PR perspective for them to just get us on board. Like, oh, he invited to the cookout.
Yeah,
look at him with the little
and that's why I hated that it came from Jay Rich because generally I rock with Jay Rich.
That's what we do. We get us to sign on. and then we can't attack what the real okie doke really is. And it's not to take away what he did, right? Those are all good things. But there are black men that have done similar things that we don't even focus on them at all. We don't even know what they do. We don't promote it at all.
But they didn't focus. They didn't focus on the kids.
Can I just add on? Like, now I applaud Arch Manning for doing that. I applaud him for doing that. Yes. But that's kind of a part of the whole regimen for like everybody. Like, that's not he didn't do anything really special. It's PR. We're gonna walk you around the different camps. You're gonna sign autographs. You're gonna give some pointers. You're gonna work with I mean, that's what they do. And that's what they should be doing. It's like branding. It's a part of the process of being who that is. So but to your point, the way we make it seem like, okay, now so and so's invited to the barbecue. I love that, Kai.
And what I didn't like about the whole thing, they weren't highlighting the young man who actually put on the camp. It was more about Arch Manning being at the camp and how great it was that he showed up, instead of, this young man who's in college is putting on a camp in the trenches in St. Louis. That's what should be highlighted.
And he networked good enough to have Arch Manning there.
Right, because that's his teammate. And that's what teammates do for each other, really.
They support each other. Right. So it wasn't about Arch Manning doing something for the kids. Arch Manning was supporting his man, just like anybody else would support their guy. Right. So, again, we happy for Arch Manning for doing that, but let's promote what it really is. He's supporting a teammate, a classmate, whatever that is, someone that he has a relationship with, which is a human quality, right? Yes. It's a human quality. That's all it is.
Thank you. Thank you, because people should stop getting extra credit for being human. like
100%, man.
Like, you don't get extra credit for that. Like, that's what we should all be doing. Everybody should be involved. Everybody should be, and they do. And I get so upset sometimes when people go, "Oh, these athletes aren't doing enough," or these so and so, and I'm like, people are actually doing more than you think they're doing. You just don't get to see it. It's not highlighted. It's not on blast all the time.
And why it stood out to me is because before that clip, I actually saw a clip about Texas NIL money. And they had a bunch of Lamborghinis and Ferraris on the sideline of the field in Texas that all belong to the football players. That's how much NIL money is getting down there. So it's like, all right, this kid is getting all this money, and he's taking his money and putting on a football camp in the trenches. Nice. Like, that should be highlighted.
Yeah,
that's what we should be looking at. Not the cars they getting from NIL money, but what this kid is doing.
Right.
And instead, we're focused on Arch Manning, and I think what they did. Look, I applaud the Mannings, because Arch Manning went to Texas and sat for 2 years behind a guy who he probably was better than. He probably could have started last year, but he waited his time. And he probably will win the Heisman this year, and he will be the number 1 pick next year. But to me, that's not what the story should have been about. It should have been about that young man holding a camp in his hometown for these kids.
Yeah, I agree. Just because you said something, Coach, and I agree with you. It's not to debate the fact, or the idea, the proposition that Arch Manning is a lock for the Heisman Trophy. But it's amazing, and I do the same thing. It's not pointing fingers. It's amazing how we're all bought in.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to prove it. He doesn't have to go earn it. He doesn't have to go earn it. We've already in our minds, he's a lock. So if he does anything reminiscent of, he doesn't have to be the best quarterback in college football.
Nope.
He just got to give you that so we can sell it to you. So
he just got to be the best Arch Manning. He just got to meet our expectations of him. He don't have to be the best quarterback, right. And that's what's crazy.
It's already set up for him.
And it's not a knock on him.
Not a knock on him.
Not a knock on him. Nope. It's just to say how society is set up, how things are sold to us. Like, it's in our mind already. That's Clark Kent gonna be Superman.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
100%.
But Black Panther might not be white. I mean, might not be black.
Mm-hmm.
But you heard about that, right?
Yeah.
Well, talking about making the next Black Panther white. It's another.
Well, and that's because they made what is it? Iron something. They just made
Ironheart. Yeah.
Ironheart is black. So
yeah, and they also made the Little Mermaid black, so they upset about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so when the comic book like with Captain America, there is a black Captain America in comic books.
Right.
There is a
like
there's no
Black Panther is black.
Black Panther is black. It's black. It's Africa, Wakanda, nigga.
Like we know Superman is white. Like it's never been a thing.
Right.
Let me throw this one at you. Kal-El.
Yeah.
And he was Jor-El. Kal-El.
Mm-hmm.
The L's, the Bays.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Kal-El, right? That was his name.
Yeah,
right?
Kal-El.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, one more thing while we're on the Superman thing. Anybody ever check out what was it called? Krypton. It was a series out a few years ago on one of these platforms called Krypton. I think they went in three seasons, right? So there's a villain named Brainiac, and Brainiac is this amorphous thing that exists in space. That when it comes in contact with a planet, it sucks up everything, like information, power, electricity, natural resources, people's minds, takes over your mind. Watch out for AI. It's Brainiac.
That's what AI is.
It's Brainiac.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what AI is.
That makes sense to me.
They said that it's actually it's a harm to the environment because it uses so much water and resource power.
Yeah.
To generate all this information, be it audio, visual, research. Like every time you write, it's like a short. What is it, Jasmine? What is it? Whenever you write in AI a phrase or Chat GPT a phrase, it generates like X amount of. It sucks up X amount of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Wow.
The servers.
The servers, the servers have to compute all this information, and it takes an enormous amount of resources to run all of this shit. And it's growing. It's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's why in China, I don't know if they're actually doing it or if they're still just like beta testing it, but they're building these servers to withstand, to be built to run underwater. Yeah. Because like the ones that Elon Musk has in for AX or XAI, whatever it is, in Tennessee, the black communities that he runs these facilities next to are poisoning people basically.
Poison people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's ultimately why we want Greenland. So
I didn't think about that. Dang.
That's really why, because there's no people in Greenland. Like we talking about going to war. We got war plans for Greenland. There's nobody there.
Wow. That's crazy. I didn't think about that because I know I learned that it's very strategic militarily.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever controls that area has access to parts of Russia.
Yep.
And wherever else. Like the West is able to block Russia off from. Well, used to be able to, but now it's we might as well be Russia right now. Like,
shit, we are Russia right now.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. So what else is out there in the sports world?
Ohtani pitched last night.
Oh yeah,
that's a big one.
Yeah, how'd he do? How'd it work out for him?
I only saw the clips, but he still can throw that ball.
I think if the Dodgers were smart and the way Ohtani's built, he already gave them the blueprint on how to use him in the World Baseball Classic. Make that man a closer, man.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Because that's what he did yesterday. He pitched one inning, and I mean he looked great.
Yeah, but, I'd let him be a closer.
Yeah,
he's got the personality to do it. I mean, he struck out Mike Trout on 3 pitches in the World Baseball Classic to win it. You know, that's like America's best player, Mike Trout, against against the Japanese best pitcher, and it was like good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Wow.
And he catches you.
That's a good thing.
He catches you looking at the pitch like, oh damn, that just happened. You know,
he throws 103. I mean 102, 100. Let him be a closer. You don't have to worry about him every day.
Yeah,
it's psychologically.
But check this out though. You know who his man who was placing them bets?
Yeah.
They can't find him.
Never went to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what that is.
Can't find him.
He in Japan chilling.
Yeah, chilling.
Yeah.
Place my bets over here.
And to your credit, Hop, you said we talked about this maybe a couple months ago.
Yeah, they got
you didn't stop questioning that interpreter guy, so I'll give you your props on that.
Man, come on. Certain things, it's like if you don't have to, why would you? Like, Ohtani didn't do it. He got caught up in some scandal. He got caught up in some whatever. It was his mans in them. Prove us wrong. Have a nice day, sir.
But how does it come out? Like, what is it? 5 months later that he never showed up at jail. Normally, they report that the day of.
He never showed up.
Showed up.
Really?
He back home chilling.
That's what we doing.
Working with the new Ohtani.
Yeah.
You know, that's all that is.
But to your point, Hawk, going back to about Ohtani, it's the same philosophy that you said about Shador. Like, he can pitch and he can hit. So psychologically, he understands how to psych a batter out on a different level because he's such an elite hitter as well. You know, like he's playing on a different level.
Yeah, he's on.
Yeah, because he knows what hitters are looking for.
Yeah,
he knows the pitch they're looking for.
Yep.
And as a batter, he sees the other elite pitchers and what they do in those situations. So it's just the data. Like, you know, it's just the data.
Since we talk about the Dodgers, I don't know if it's fair to mention how they have not been supportive of the Latino community in LA, like at all. Everything that's happened, they've not participated, supported, and there's like a controversy around it because the Latino community supports the Dodgers. Like
no other.
Town fans are Latinos.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. You know, another wake up call. Fuck around and find out.
I saw a podcast. It was two Latina women, and they were saying how it was strange to them that Latinos have not looked at Black people and the civil rights movement and how to utilize that same method, you know, and how we should be together. And Latinos haven't learned anything on how to really protest and how to really utilize their strength in that way, because, you know, they look at themselves as being separate, you know, like, you know, they're better than or different than the Black community. So, you know, where there should be that that synergy between the two is missing. You know?
Yeah.
You know what's unfortunate? It's like I don't know the answer to it, because just human beings are human beings, right? And we look at human beings like the average human bitch, the average motherfucker, just don't really know a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's ignorant respectfully. Ignorant, respectfully. I'm not dumb, but just doesn't know.
It's lazy.
Lazy.
Well, most people have access, right? But they rather take a route of, well, it's not like it, I think some of it, like you said, people aren't dumb. So what else? How can you categorize it if they have the same access to the stuff you have, information wise?
Yeah, and that's what ignorance is. Really, it's laziness. You know.
Yeah, I guess that would be it. But it's a thing where, you know, people coming from different circumstances, things are happening, people dealing with traumas, everybody, you know, Black people, white people, Mexicans. It's not to give anybody an out at all, no doubt. just to say that the average motherfucker, black or otherwise, know very little about the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Very little about how we actually got here, right? And it's like, I know people who have no concept of near history, not even like 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 250, 300 years ago. I'm talking about like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
25 years ago, where we
literally
were.
what our parents experienced.
What we experienced in the 70s and 80s growing up. Like,
yes.
Motherfuckers don't know that shit.
Yep.
So
when you talk about how, and I, not to cut you short,
I
agree with everything you're saying, but I was just thinking about what you were saying about the Latino brothers and sisters, and I think about like the crazy, and I go back to that word ignorance, because the crazy thing about it is we're here again, but from my studying from the civil rights movement is a perfect example. The Puerto Rican organizers, I believe it was the Young Lords, were right there with Fred Hampton in Chicago.
Yes.
Learning from him. And then I was listening to Carmen Perez talk about the Chicanos in California, and back in the days, the Mexicans, how they learned how to organize right alongside with the black folks. And of course, we know in New York and New Jersey, you had the Black Panthers that were right there with the Puerto Rican people, the Latin people that was in New York. And it's like, it's infuriating going back to that word ignorance, because it's like, yo, we don't got to tell you, y'all don't have grandparents or uncles or great grandparents that can tell y'all that, yo, these black people held us down in the 70s.
I want you to factor something in though, right? Because it's like the reality of everything is relative. So we look at what's going on now and we compare it to what was going on in the 60s, right? The marches, the protests, the activism. Okay. That's just going on right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Since George Floyd, it's been going on, right? So when you turn on the TV, you see millions of people out there. Black Lives Matter. We protested against the police. Still, the average motherfucker ain't connected to none of that shit.
Nope.
The average person don't care about none of that shit. Black, white, Spanish. Now, we talk about Mexicans or Spanish people because they're not, there are no, they have their own version of it, but still relative to the greater population of Mexicans, niggas don't understand that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just
George Lopez said that shit the best. George Lopez, as a comedian, he was like, because Mexicans look at things in an exponential growth fashion, and he was like, they knocked on a slave master's door one day back in the 1800s, and they saw some black people picking cotton, and they knocked on the door, and the slave owner said, well, how can I help you? He's like, who are they? And it was like, those are slaves. And the Mexican said, I'll do it cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you do it cheaper than slavery?
Yep.
It's like, but that's how they are. It's different. It's just different. It's a whole different aspect of their thought process. They think that there's something that's okay. Slavery was okay.
Yeah.
It's got a value.
Like that colonialization and colorization that happened to all of us.
Yep.
Deeper in others than it, it's deeper for some. That shit is really implanted in their mind. That light skin, hair, nose.
Yep.
Yeah. It's all over the world too. I've seen it in Asia. I've seen it
everywhere.
in Latin America, Jamaica. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not to go too deep on this whole politics thing, but I just want to say, because you said talking about the slavery aspect of it, even right down today, I was listening to the brother Ian from Earn Your Leisure talk about how people are talking about how Planeteer Technologies, Peter Thiel and Alex Karp and those guys, and how you've seen, like, you look at the chart, it was like $40 a share a year ago. It's like $140 a share today, and it's all because of government investment and contracts, right?
Yep.
And it's like, we know, or we at least have a really good idea of what this thing is about, surveillance and spying on Americans and basically just lining us up. But you have black people that are like, yo, man, but let's invest in it though. You know what? Let's it's a good flip. It's a good way to make some money. And I'm not judging nobody. Whatever you want to do. If you got discretional money to spend and you trying to get your money, I'm not doing it. But if that's what you're gonna do, get your money. But it's a good example of how easily, that's like you said to Ian's point, the brother's point. That's like back in the day saying, "Oh yeah, I'll invest in chattel slavery because it has good returns."
Yeah, yeah.
That's a great analogy right there. That's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we're participating in our own enslavement.
Yep.
And
exactly.
We make it look fly.
And I don't want to harp on this too long, but we just saw it here in New Jersey with the governor's race. I had so many of my brothers tell me they didn't want to waste their vote on Ross because he couldn't win, even though he was saying the things that spoke to us as a people. Too many times we are looking for our individual needs instead of us collectively.
We don't understand exponential growth.
No, and we don't understand as a collective, as a community, we are stronger. We're probably the only group that does not vote as a community, as a collective, and that's why we don't get anything from the political process. Yet we want the government to give us a bunch of handouts. We're the only ones that think like that. So it was interesting, the last week or so to hear that from so many people. And some, would say, hey, yeah, I voted for Ross, but I wasted my vote. And I'm like, yo.
I said, so they don't understand voting and how this works. You didn't waste your vote. Like, if you were going to vote for Mikey Sherrill, she won. Okay, so she won. You didn't waste your vote. She won. Raz came in second with 20% of the vote. Mikey Sherrill got 34% of the vote. Fulop got 15% of the vote. Fulop, mayor of Jersey City, only captured 39% of Jersey City's vote.
He lost Jersey City.
Yeah.
He lost Jersey City.
Talk about it.
Raz got 73% of Newark's vote, which Newark is a bigger city than Jersey City. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if who beat him in. Who beat Fulop in Jersey City? Mikey Sherrill?
I think Ross and I think Sherrill beat him.
Wow. See?
Yeah.
City.
So,
but see, yeah, that was
like that's just and it's for the Democratic primary, so it's not even like you were voting against a Republican. You're still gonna get a Democrat that comes out of the primary. So you're not even understanding why you're voting and why you should vote for Raz. And that's
right.
And it's powerful. It was powerful to vote for Raz because Mikey Sherrill was a part of the DNC. She was the handpicked DNC person. So the kind of apparatus she had behind her. And I can't probably, I know, but behind you, Hawk, I could probably speak to some of the more specific just from the conversations that I've had behind the scenes. But I'll tell you this, though. This is not a behind the scenes thing. This is what everybody can see. Raz is a progressive candidate that came in second place with, and I'm not counting the campaign's pockets, but probably with the least amount of money.
He had the least amount of money.
And low voter turnout. Extremely low voter turnout, too.
Oh, are you sure? I was under the impression that this was actually one of the higher voter turnouts in New Jersey.
Was that last week?
Yeah.
Only 1.5
Tuesday.
Only 1.5 million people voted.
Okay, so check this out. More than 600,000 then. So I thought 600,000 roughly came out for the Democrats and about 300,000 came out for the Republican, which is that's a good look right there. That means the Republicans are disenchanted and they came out less than the Democrats came out.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I think Mikey Sherrill ended up with somewhere between 300,000 to 400,000 votes, I thought. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Raz ended up almost 200,000 votes.
Yep. You got it.
So you're looking at less than 1.5 million people total voted, and that's low turnout for the state of New Jersey. And it was a primary, but still, if we get voter turnout, those numbers probably look different.
I think it's incredibly well for Raz, though. Just for somebody that ran statewide for the first time ever, to come in second place behind the DNC pick, to be a progressive, to have people kind of, maybe the second time around now, people kind of know who he is a little more now. Not just him individually, but look, and I don't want to go too deep on this, but it's amazing to me the effect that Raz, and I'm giving Raz the credit for this because he was the first one that was getting locked up by ICE and all that. It's amazing to see the effect that Raz and his candidacy is having on the New York mayor election, because you got Lander just got locked up by roughed up by ICE. You got Mamdani, who's another progressive, who's soaring in the poll. They might take out Cuomo, who's like the establishment Democrat, like old days establishment Democrat. So I think
Cuomo has a lot of baggage, though. Yeah, a lot of baggage. And,
who's that? Cuomo,
yeah. I thought he was going to be initially. I thought it was like, okay, he's probably going to be the favorite. But a lot of his baggage is coming to bear.
Which Cuomo is this?
Not the one on TV. The one that was governor of New York.
That's Chris is on TV.
No,
There's
Andrew.
Okay.
Andrew, yeah. Corruption, sexual harassment,
witness intimidation.
Like his shit is raggedy. He's just another Trump, really.
Yeah, but those are things. Unfortunately, those are all things that help you get elected now in the climate we're in.
Well, I don't know if you saw Mamdani spank Cuomo around in the debate.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he handled this dude. And then another thing I like was when they asked him, was he going to Israel? He was like, I'll be meeting Jewish organizations here in New York City, and I'll be tending to the New Yorkers. And they were trying to press him. So you're not going to Israel? He's not going to Israel. And he's like, he put his foot down.
He doubled down.
Very clear. Very, like, he was right on, spot on.
I don't know if y'all know this about him, but his mother was the writer and creator of Mississippi Masala.
Yeah. That was dope.
Which is fire.
So, but to your point about Raz's effect and how that progressive tone is resonating with people right now because of what's happening in Israel, because of what's happening with immigration, because of what's happening with the economy, I think progressives have the ear of the American people. People want to see the Democrats get rough with Trump. Like, they want to see pushback. It's the progressives who are giving that pushback. You see with Raz, who did very well in the gubernatorial race in Jersey. Yeah. And you see Mamdani is like people listening to him. He's coming out of nowhere to make I know like 3 or 4 other people who are running, and nobody's talking about them. They're talking about Cuomo and Mamdani.
Yeah. Yep. And the thing with the progressives, for the most part, they're from the people. They can identify with the average man. They're not. You rarely find a wealthy progressive. The two don't go hand in hand for the most part. Of the ones that are successful and their message resonates, So I think that's what most of our politicians now are so far removed from the actual people. They're beholden to lobbyists and the wealthy. So they don't even understand something as simple as the price of eggs right now. And that's what was so great about Ross. With Ross losing, I actually was happy he lost because I want him to stay as mayor of Newark, because I thought Newark would have been in trouble if he had won. But also I think this sets him up in 4 years, to run again and be the front runner.
Agreed.
So
I think the Democratic machine will get behind him next time. I think there were some other things that were at play this time that they actually went out and sought Mickey Sherrill because of some pettiness. But I think he will have that Democratic machine, and I think he will still have his same message. His message will change.
Let me ask you this, because he pulled 20% of the voters, and he came in second, and in order to, for her to do what she needs to do in the general election, she's going to need Raz's support.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does the Democratic Party start courting him now? And
Absolutely.
If that's the case, I'm sure they're going to want to see her get 2 terms.
Yeah, and I'm not even mad at that, because to me, the longer Ross is mayor of Newark, that's better for Newark and developing the next leader in Newark as well. Because I don't think there's someone, at least not from us, right now ready in Newark. So I think it gives us time, because I would hope it would be do it all at some point, but I think there needs to be a little bit more time. Otherwise, because the Latino community is setting up to take over Newark next. So I think this was good for us.
Latino community has been set up to take over Newark since before Gibson.
but they right there now. Right there. Well, and Ross did a good thing. That whole ICE thing was very good for him to garner support from that community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
So that had nothing to do with sports. I don't even know how we got there.
That's all right.
All good.
Yeah.
Somehow we went from Ohtani to.
Oh no, we start talking about the Dodgers.
Yeah, the Dodgers.
That's what it was. The Dodgers.
But you know what? That's the significance of sports. Because sports is a microcosm of the issues in the world, and it's the only area that brings people together, really.
Right.
But we don't pay attention to it enough, because you're right. It is a microcosm. Did y'all see that picture of the NBA where they had Steph and LeBron walking away, and they had all the other stars, and in the middle of the picture it was Luka and Cooper Flag? Like they had the big faces. The big faces were Cooper Flag and Luka. These small faces were the other NBA stars we talk about, not Shea, Anthony Edwards. But then they had LeBron.
And Cooper Flag has played 0 minutes in the NBA.
He's played 0 minutes. And this is they said the NBA faces. And it was Cooper Flag and Luka were the main two in the picture.
Wow.
So again, and I'm not taking nothing away from Cooper Flag. That's not his fault. But this is how they set it up, right? Cooper Flag didn't do anything. He's a good basketball player. He hasn't played a minute in the NBA, but I still think I respect his skill set. But they already have him as the face of the NBA.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why that's so significant. Of course, we know he's a white boy. Great. Okay. But also, he is the face of New Balance.
Yeah, I saw that.
New Balance is a very strong Republican,
conservative,
very conservative. You know, so that I think plays a huge role in what they're trying to do on every level.
Absolutely.
Yo, it's not good, man.
That's why people were like talking about, oh, look, the NBA is, NBA is in good shape, and I'm like, y'all don't even, and these are like people that look like us are saying it. I'm like, y'all not even paying attention to what's going on right now in front of you. They gave you a picture and you don't even see it.
Yeah,
we don't have an American. We don't have an American face of the NBA.
I don't mind it. It's not American, right? Just because it's like the pool of talent is international. So, but as long as it's brothers. We want to see the best of the best, no matter what.
I'm about the best basketball players.
I'm about the best basketball players.
Yeah.
But to your point, I do see what's happening.
Yeah.
But that's a total lie, because the face of the league is Joker and SGA.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's Joker and SGA.
That's what it is.
Luke ain't got no championship.
Nope.
Luke ain't did nothing to warrant being the face of the league. And Cooper
But
Flag
Luka's in LA.
Basketball.
He's in LA. Well, LA is that campaign for LA. And you got Cooper Flag, which you already said what it is, right? So that's the stuff you got to pay attention to, because they're telling you what they want you to think.
Yes.
They tell you what you exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, though. We'll see, because we midway through this decade right now. Obviously, LeBron and Steph had the past decade, and of course, we go back to Kobe, whatnot. Back in history, I think it's still being written who the guy of this decade is. I mean, I think you make a really strong point that Joker is already made the case for being
right now. It's Joker.
Right, yeah, but you know, in this next 5 years and going forward, as far as the NBA and the future of the NBA, it's just interesting. I don't know.
The problem
I'm
with
you, Kai,
Joker,
on that. I don't know yet, like who it is. I think Joker is definitely putting the case out, but is it statistically, or is it what is it? What is it going to be?
He's not marketable though. Joker isn't marketable, and that's the problem.
Exactly.
That's the problem with Joker.
Well, that's a problem for the NBA. But if you know basketball and you watching, you're like, okay, it might be somebody else, but Joker's definitely in the conversation.
Yeah.
It's
Joker
like
is
Tim Duncan. Like Tim Duncan was the guy,
right? Wasn't marketable,
but nobody remembers that really.
Yeah.
And y'all
Joker,
realize that Tim Duncan won in every decade. He won in 3 different decades with the same squad.
Yeah.
And the bigger problem with Joker is he don't want to be the face. He don't even care about that
at all.
The minute Joker them lost, he was back in his homeland. He was like, I'm out.
Yeah. Matter of fact, he had to stay for the parade. He was mad. What?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going home. No parade. I'm going home.
Yep.
Yeah. You gotta sell it, brother.
And that's why ultimately Luka can't be the face either, because he does the same thing. He goes back home. So they're trying to build him up to that, but he don't want to be here.
Yeah, but Luka, you could make him the international player. Joker wants to go back to the farm.
Right.
He's Luka, he's like, you dress him up. He's the internet. He's James Bond.
What they might do, and I don't know this because I don't know anything about marketing in the NBA, but what they might do is try to pair Caitlyn and Cooper as like the all-American faces. Caitlyn with the women and him with the men, and make it a whole down home middle America.
Middle America, 2 huge Republican states.
Yep.
It all works. It all works.
Crazy. So now let me quick contrast. You got Cooper Flag, you got Luka, you got Joker, throwing AR, throwing Chet. You got John Morant. You got what's the boy down with the Pelicans?
Zion.
Zion gets sued by them hoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got who else you got?
You got Ant-Man being sued by hoes.
You got Ant-Man.
Yo, man, I think that guy got off easy, man. I'm just not an advocate of buying somebody off, so you don't have to.
I know.
That's your kid, man. That's your seed. Like, what if your family felt like that about you? Like, what is his parents saying to him about that? Like, you just told a child you don't want nothing to do with him.
I think he was raised by his grandmother.
Oh man, it's just terrible, man.
And
his grandmother didn't give up on him.
His mother and father were around. It's like,
oh man, it's just horrible.
Yeah, we don't see that's the thing. Like, for unfortunately, not most of us, but so many of us come from circumstances that's just we come from the mud to mud. There's no structure, no discipline, it just happens to be you just super talented, super athletic.
I just feel like as a person who came with nothing, I didn't have a lot either, right? And I appreciate the things that I have now, and I also want to make sure that I give back, or I leave a legacy where it's not duplicated, right? And I feel like your grandmother raised you, and so she didn't give up on you. She raised you because your parents weren't around, and you just co-signed with the ability to take care of a child.
All right, so all right, so I don't know who his grandmother is.
Yeah.
So I probably should make assumptions, right? But a lot of times when your grandmother's raising you, she's just babysitting.
Yeah, you raising yourself.
Raising yourself.
True.
You being raised by
the streets, the people around you.
Auntie,
Unc, I got you.
It's just he just happened to be super, super talented, and he needs guidance because we need legacies. We need structure for the children we make. We should be rearing them to be, and we're not. We just have to.
And let's tie it all in together. that's why it's so crazy how Shador is looked at, and what Prime has done as a father, being in his life,
as a dad.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You preaching.
Because you could never, Shador would never do anything like this because it would never enter his mind.
Right.
Even if he could, it just wouldn't enter his mind because he knows better, because he was raised by a strong black father.
Right.
You know.
You preaching that, bro.
Big shout out to Jalen Hurts, by the way.
What did he do?
Yeah.
Just be him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got no qualms with Jalen Hurts. He won a Super Bowl. He played well. That's it. He proved me wrong.
Got strong black women around him.
Yeah, he got good black women. I love his his off brand is ridiculous. It's tight as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Hurts is a great brand. Period.
And just renewed his vows with his wife. You know,
I mean,
he's great. In fact, Jalen Hurts was just on our fraternity magazine.
Yeah,
he's the first. And the crazy part is they made the cover green. And, you know, our colors are purple and gold. Oh, yeah. And there was a little uproar, like, yo, what y'all
your colors are purple and gold, coach? I didn't know that.
And so there was an uproar, like, yo. So like, why y'all put this green on? And that just shows the respect that he has, you know, because of the kind of person, the character that he's showing. You know, it's phenomenal, man. He don't get enough credit for what he's doing out here, as a pro athlete, as a leader.
Well, let me tell you, that's where I was away, going that golf trip every year, right? And I was talking, you know, Stan Verrett left ESPN, and him and Neil Everett Neil Everett is another LA Sports Center guy. They're gonna do a podcast together. They're about to launch it very soon. But he was saying, you know, basically, you know, they want everybody to report to Bristol, right? But there's other things that's going on within ESPN. And he said that they were, again, how they depict black men. He said, I'm here with 51 brothers every year that I play golf with. And he's like, none of them think like ESPN executives think we think. And so Jalen Hurts becomes a non-story because Jalen Hurts is part of how we think, right? And it's the things that we represent. And ESPN is not interested in showing us in that vein. Yeah. And then I'm not even going to, share what the Stephen A. Smith conversation was. So I'll just leave it there. That's why I won't never support that man. I can't do it. I can't even. I mean, I like the fact that he's making money. I get it, but the way to do it that way is just not the healthy way to do it to gain respect. You know, you just selling your soul for the dollar.
Yep.
And when it's people's energy, you know, they don't have it's not jealousy. When you hear people talk, you know when people are jealous, and you know when people are just being real. And I didn't get 1 ounce of jealousy in that conversation because he left it real short. Like, yo, that's what you selling your soul for the power of evil. That's it. Done.
Crazy. So yeah, I put up a post on Facebook earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday. It was what's the comedy news show? Stewart. What's the show?
Oh, Stewart. Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart. Okay.
He has another comedian that does. Anyway, the joke was Trump's conversation with Stephen A. Smith when Stephen A. Smith asked him about the protest at Harvard, and Trump started talking about Harlem and how they love him in Harlem, and he won the black vote in Harlem. She was crazy.
Yep.
She was crazy. So, old friend of mine, I had said basically, Stephen A. Smith. I'll tell you exactly what I said. But it was sad because you know how Stephen A. when somebody says something wrong, he immediately cuts them off. He immediately interjects.
Yep.
And he gave Trump the grace of not interrupting, letting him ramble. And it was like, he said something so wrong, in the words of Stephen A., so egregious. How could you possibly let him get away with this.
No, because he'll say, "What am I supposed to say?" It's the president of the United States. You can't. He'll flip it like we don't understand the big picture. He'll tell us that we don't understand.
No. You have to witness this for yourself. There's no way around this other than you was bootlicking, kissing this nigga's ass.
I think you're 1,000% right, huh?
You bootlicking
exactly
and you kissing this nigga's ass, yo. What are we doing, Stephen A? Come on, son.
Yeah, no, Stephen A every day looks worse and worse. He just looks like
I saw KD sent that post, that meme of him, not a meme. He was playing solitaire at the NBA Finals. And Kevin Durant said, "This is our ESPN analyst." He playing solitaire on his phone.
Yep. Hold on 1 second. Let me get this going for you, so you can see this. You're gonna be ashamed, even though you know who he is, and he's Stephen A. Candy.
About is they're asking, what do you say to those who view your actions as an attack on academic freedom rather than a defense of fairness? What do you say to that?
Well, I say this: we had riots in Harlem. In Harlem,
amazing. Trump heard a black man say Harvard, and he thought he must have meant Harlem. What a beautiful mix of racism and dementia. It sounds like you asked about Social Security, but I'm going to assume you really asked about Soul Plane. You know, not a great start, but maybe Donald Trump, maybe he can save it.
We had riots in Harlem, in Harlem, and frankly, if you look at what's gone on, and people from Harlem went up and they protested, Stephen, and they protested very strongly against Harvard.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't say. What is he talking about exactly? There were no riots in Harlem. They definitely didn't go from the non-riots to protest Harvard. And none of that had anything to do with Stephen A.'s question about academic freedom. It's almost like he's talking about black stuff because Stephen A. Smith is black.
You know, I got a very high black vote. You know that. Very, very high black vote.
I'm starting to think that maybe Trump shouldn't be choosing the curriculum for the smartest college in the world.
That's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing that you said nothing to this man.
But you know what? I'm gonna send a little bit of bail to Stephen A. just because he looked so confused by the answer. He just was like, he was caught off guard. Like, yo,
but he went on so long, and he was so wrong and so twisted.
You got to cut him off.
Let me tell you what he also would have did. He would have also, if that was a Democrat in that same seat, he would have got on another show and presented. What are we doing here? This is who our leaders are. This is why I can't mess with them. This is what he would have said.
Exactly.
He would have made an example of him.
Thank you, Wes.
He wouldn't have been quiet.
Yeah.
No, he would have been on a tirade on his radio show, his podcast, everything.
And even on First Take, he would have said, they would have said, and how was speaking to the president? He was like, "Oh, you don't want to go there." He would have made a sarcastic remark at least. He would have said something. Yep. You know, he didn't do anything.
Yeah. So I had a friend of mine was like, "I don't see where he was racist." I was like, "No," he said he's protecting him. That's what Stephen A. does. He cuts you off when he thinks you're wrong.
Yes.
He stops you and he checks you. And he had enough time to check Trump, but chose to keep it moving. And
he asked a specific question, and Trump answered to a specific location that was nothing to do with the specific question.
It's nothing to do with the question.
Period. But this is what we like. So that's why I can't mess with it. But
yeah, man. But anyway, all right, brothers. I mean, we put an hour and a half in. That was a good one. I don't know if there's anything else.
I appreciate you fellas, man. I'm glad to see y'all.
Yeah,
good to see you, Wes. And I still think the NBA Finals go on 7 games.
That's good. We'll get one more show. I was hoping to get to 200 shows, but it looks like we're gonna stop at 198.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if it goes 7, we'll be back on next week, Tuesday.
Yeah.
That game 7 is on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what it is.
All right, fellas.
All right, bro. Yep.
Have a good one.
Next week.
All right.
All right.
Peace.